What is up, everybody? Fishing with the Trouts coming to you with another video. Today's video is going to be about the basics of trout fishing. So first you'll need to know what you need in preparation for trout fishing. So my setup that I like to use when I go fishing in a stocked lake is a barrel swivel with a connector for a weight, so that holds bottom, and then your hook and whatever bait of choice you use will be floating up to hopefully where the fish are in the depth of the water. Then you'll also need some basic stuff such as a rod holder to hold your rod in position while you're fishing. Technically, there's so many different varieties of rod holders. These I just got at my local Walmart and they've worked for me. So you'll need those. Obviously, you'll want something to get to your fish and bring it in on land as fast as you can, which I have this net. It's got the rubber mesh, which is awesome because if you use like a regular mesh net, I found that it's a pain in the butt because it treble hooks and regular hooks, just they get caught up in there, and then you're ending up ripping your net because you have to get the hook out. Also, you'll need a measuring device. In my area, the minimum length is 7 inches for a trout, so you're obviously going to want to measure. Now, most times out of 10, the fish you'll catch is a little bit bigger than that, but always be safe than sorry and measure your fish. I can't stress that enough. You don't want to take an illegal fish. And then you'll want something to hold your fish while you keep fishing for your limit, which is a stringer. There's different types of stringers as well as there are rod holders. This is just the one that I prefer. It's a chain link, and it's got these little hooks. You press in and it comes out. You put it through the gill of a fish, close it back up, and you can throw it in the water and your fish will stay alive longer until you are ready to do what you have to do with that fish at that time. Okay, now that all that is out of the way and all the basic stuff is out of the way, let's get into what I like to use for trout fishing in different waters and all that good stuff. So let's start with the different kind of lures and hooks. So I just have a container here with all different small hooks. There's so many different sizes that I'm not really going to go into details, but for trout, you definitely want to use the smaller hook is better. Trout are finicky when it comes to hooks, so you always want to use, let me pull one out here for you guys. Like an itty bitty little tiny hook like that. So that's really the size of hook that I recommend using. Now we're going to get into the lures that I like to use, and you can use these size hooks for streams, rivers, and ponds and lakes. Now for stream fishing for stock trout, I like to use these little power bait tubes. They work great from my experience with using them. I've always had really good luck with these, but usually I only have good luck with in the streams with these. It's that's just from my experience. So moving on to lures that I use, anything like that has a fluff, like a feathery tail and looks like a grub, they're always really good to use. I usually use this kind of setup here for stream because it's got a heavier weight jig head on it, so I tend to get snagged on if I use this on the streams that are shallow, but these do work very well. Then you got your options of Rapala, the like jerk baits, the hard plastic jerk baits, and whatnot. These work really good too for trout. These I usually pull them out a couple weeks after they stock the trout in my area, just because the first couple weeks they're not really targeting these kind of lures. Then you can move on to a blade bait for them, which is it could be a spoon where you constantly reel it in and try to get you're trying to imitate a minnow with this, is basically what you're doing. And then you always got your spinners and etc. Another way you can catch trout in a stream, lake, or pond is have a weighted bobber. I usually put it a foot above my bait, and that way it gives that it goes to the depth where the trout are. And as you get out there and you experiment with the different layers of the water and stuff, you can adjust these bobbers to where the fish are in the water. Then you have a very nice minnow hard plastic jerk bait. They work good because they're literally imitating a minnow that you would use. So that's that. And then I always have with me some source of trimming the access line off after you tie a knot on your lure, or if you get in a pinch and your reel spools up on you. I have toenail clippers, but these are actually designed for fishermen because it has if you ever got into, or if you ever been fishing and you have jig heads, it's got the jig head hole punch right here where you put it and you pinch it through and it gets rid of that. That's annoying. If you've ever had to deal with that, you know what I'm talking about. So that's very nice. Recommend getting these. You can get them at your local Walmart or Dick's Sporting Goods or any outdoors store in that case. Okay, so that's the lure selection. Now let's move into the bait that I like to use. Typically speaking, if I'm using bait for trout, I always go to power bait. There's so many different types of power bait. To me, power bait is power bait. The only thing that's really different is if it's scented, or if it says it's scented with insect or garlic. And obviously there's different colors, and that does matter in certain parts. Like if it just rained and the water's murky and muddy, you're going to want to use a brighter power bait from my experience. I prefer power bait like where you can roll it up in your fingers into a ball. The nuggets are okay, but I always find that they come off much easier than the stuff that you can roll up yourself. So that's going to conclude this video. Hope you like it, and subscribe, like, and comment, and be sure to stay tuned to my video and my channel. Thanks.